Doctor, can you tell me where this all or when all this happened and why all this happened? Because I don't remember maybe this being an issue. Okay, I was at MIT. We didn't exactly talk about social causes. We were in the lab and they were just beating me until I could figure out my differential equations. But I don't remember it in the early 90s. When did this come about? Why did it come about? I have a guy that's been on my show who's a 77-year-old man who's got a castle in Scotland. He's a high performance coach, extremely politically incorrect. And he said that political correctness is a manifestation of a lack of self-esteem. He's been saying that for 20 years. And maybe that's just one part of it, but where do you think this came from?
So again, fantastic question. Because if you wish to understand, I mean, in the exact same way that we try to understand where the COVID virus originated, and in the pursuit of that objective, people were feathered and tarred as racist, because you can't even talk about the geographic origin of an actual biological virus anymore, lest it might marginalize people. So to your point, where did these idea pathogens begin? Why did they begin? Well, of course, I'm here to tell you that, and in a slight rephrasing of George Orwell's famous quip, it takes intellectuals to come up with some of the uniquely dumbest ideas. And so all of these idea pathogens were spawned and began their proliferation on university campuses. So that explains the origin. Now, when did they come about? It depends on the specific idea pathogen. So cultural relativism, the idea that we can't really tell, judge a culture unless we judge it in its own context. There are no human universals. Each culture is a microcosm of its own reality. That started, almost 100, 80, 90 years ago by Franz Boas, a cultural anthropologist at Columbia, and then his students promoted that. Now, that idea pathogen, and the reason why I call it idea pathogen is because it is perfectly incorrect. All cultures are not equal. Cultures that cut off the clitorises of little girls are not equal to cultures that don't do that. Cultures that throw off gays from rooftops are not equal to cultures that don't. So the idea that all cultures are equal is insanely laughable. Okay, but so let's talk about why that idea pathogen began. Well, in the social sciences, one defines their identity based on their abdication of biology, right? So if you are a sociologist or an economist or most psychologists or an anthropologist, unless you're a biological anthropologist, you share your common disdain for using biology to explain human behavior. So, and that's something that I have faced from the start of my career, when I tried to Darwinize the behavioral sciences in general and the business school in particular, right? So I came in 1994 as a fresh young assistant professor, where I was arguing, well, how could we study consumer behavior and economic decision-making and employee behavior and employer behavior without ever recognizing the biological and evolutionary mechanisms that drive our behaviors? Surely, as consumers, we don't somehow exist in a plane outside the purview of our biological heritage. And that was viewed as, this is insane. What kind of nonsense are you saying, Professor Saad? So cultural relativism arose precisely because, again, it came from a, quote, noble place, which is there were all sorts of miscreants and cretins that had misused evolutionary theory. Think about the British social Darwinists, who it had nothing to do with Darwin, but they usurped Darwinian theory to say, hey, there's a natural struggle between the classes. We're the upper class, you're the lower class. Hey, that's just nature. So if you die out in your polluted environments without any education, hey, that's just nature. Then the eugenicists come along and say, hey, that's Darwinian. If we sterilize gay people so that they can't reproduce, hey, that's just natural. That's Darwinian. The Nazis came along and said, hey, it's a natural struggle between races. We're the Aryans, we win. Hey, that's just Darwinian. And so the cultural anthropologists said, well, we need to find a way through consequentialist ethics to create new edifices of reason bereft of biology, because then that could, stop future scientists or politicians or, demagogues from misusing biology. So that would be a long-winded answer of how that particular idea pathogens came to be. Postmodernism, on the other hand, is a bit younger. So about 40, 50 years ago, a whole bunch of French imbeciles, Jacques Derrida, Michel Foucault, Jacques Lacan, and then others, developed the idea that, there is no objective truth. Language creates reality. That's called deconstructionism by Jacques Derrida. To speak of a universal truth is insane because we're always bound by our idiosyncrasies, by our personal biases, by subjectivity. So there is no capital T truth. So that's why, by the way, I refer to postmodernism as the granddaddy of all idea pathogens, because you can't wake up as a scientist in the morning if you were a postmodernist, because scientists, while they recognize that all truths are provisional, meaning that what was true 50 years ago may no longer be true today, science is autocorrective, we do operate under the premise that there is a truth out there to be discovered. Well, postmodernists say, no, there is no such thing. And so depending on the ID pathogen, the timing of it is slightly different, but I would say between 40 and 80 years ago is when most of them happen. And then it takes a while for it to simmer, and then they all come together and slowly erode our edifices of reason. And that's where we are today.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.